Welcome to the lecture series on Introduction to Indian Philosophy. In this lecture, I will discuss the Sāṃkhya Theory of Causation. All Indian philosophical schools discuss the concept of causality, as it holds great significance not just in metaphysics but in every branch of philosophy. In epistemology, we study the different pramanas, but the definition of the pramanas, the difference between the various kinds of pratyaksha, or the distinction between the definitions of valid and invalid inference or anuman are possible only due to causation. Similar is the case with ethics. There are 4 purusharthas, dharma, artha, kam and moksha. We all know that in order to attain moksha, we must perform actions in accordance with dharma. So, isn't dharma causally related to moksha? Likewise, in metaphysics too, we encounter the concept of causality while studying the nature of the ultimate reality. Of course, different schools of Indian philosophy have concentrated on different aspects of causality. The Sāṃkhya school has highlighted on the material cause and the implicit presence of the effect in the cause. The Nyaya school, however, does not identify the effect with the material cause. For them, the effect does not pre-exist in its cause prior to its manifestation. The Purvamamsa school emphasizes on the potentiality or shakti of the material cause as relating to a particular effect. The Advaita school focuses on vivarta, which means there is no real change of a cause into an effect. It is only an appearance. And the Buddhist school preaches not the philosophy of being but of becoming, that is momentariness. So it concentrates on the actual production of the cause, which only stays for a moment. So I have given you an overview of how the concept of causality is central to the philosophy put forward by the different schools of Indian thought. In this lecture, I will highlight and discuss 2 fundamental theories on cause and effect upon which the views held by the different schools of Indian philosophy are based. And these 2 theories are Satkaryavad and Asatkaryavad. Satkaryavad is the view according to which the effect exists in its cause prior to its production or manifestation. It is also called Parinamvad, as there is an actual transformation of the cause into the effect. Asatkaryavad, on the other hand, is the view according to which the effect does not exist in its cause prior to its manifestation. It is also called Arambhavad, as the effect is a new creation. The Sāṃkhya school accepts the Satkaryavad theory of causation, whereas the Nyaya school accepts the Asatkaryavad theory of causation. And as I just said, that all the other theories that I mentioned in the beginning are based on one of these 2 main theories of causation. Let us discuss the Sāṃkhya view on causation, and it is that the effect is implicitly present in the material cause. So basically, what the Sāṃkhya philosophers are highlighting is the appearance or disappearance of the effect, not the creation or destruction of an effect. You need to know at this point that the Nyaya philosophers claim that cause and effect are absolutely different. There is atyanta bhed between the two. The effect can in no way and under no circumstances be identical with the material cause or the upadan karana. But here I wish to draw your attention to samavayi karana, or the inherent cause accepted by the Nyaya. Now, what is an inherent cause? It is that in which the effect inheres or resides. So, as long as the effect exists, its inherent cause exists. Let us take an example. When the milk is transformed into curd. Now, what happens? Of course, the milk does not exist anymore. So, milk is not the inherent cause of curd. However, milk transforms into curd due to some chemical changes in the milk atoms which continue to exist in the curd. And therefore, the milk atoms are the inherent cause of curd. Milk is only the instrumental cause for the Nyaya. But for the Sāṃkhya, milk is the material cause in which the effect curd implicitly in a subtle or unmanifest form exists. I hope now you understood why I stated the distinction between the material cause of Sāṃkhya and the inherent cause of Nyaya. So, remember, for the Sāṃkhya, the effect is not different from its cause or causal conditions. For them, the word production does not mean creation of a totally new object. Similarly, destruction does not mean total cessation of an object. Everything is a manifestation of nature called Prakriti. Instead of the word production or creation, the Sāṃkhya philosophers use the expression manifestation or appearance. Similarly, instead of destruction or cessation, they prefer the word disappearance. No one denies that causality involves change, but the Sāṃkhya philosophers interpret change as a state from unmanifest to manifest, or from manifest to unmanifest. Let us now understand how the Sāṃkhya theory of causation is the Parinamvad version of Satkaryavad, whereas the Advaita is the Vivartavad version of Satkaryavad. Now, Parinamvad means real transformation of the cause into the effect. So, clay transforming into a pot or wood transforming into a table, or as I just mentioned, milk transforming into curd are examples of Parinamvad. Vivartavad, on the other hand, means that the transformation of the cause into the effect is merely apparent, not real. So, a rope appearing as a snake is an example of Vivartavad. There is another interesting comparison between Sāṃkhya and Ramanuja's Vishisht Advaita. Actually, both these schools accept Parinamvad, but for Ramanuja, Brahman transforms or manifests itself as the universe, whereas for the Sāṃkhya, Prakriti transforms or manifests itself as the universe. So technically, Ramanuja's view is called Brahma Parinamvad, whereas Sāṃkhya view is called Prakriti Parinamvad. Ishwar Krishna in his Sāṃkhya Karika has offered 5 arguments to prove his theory of Satkaryavad. That is, the effect is real and exists even before its manifestation or production. But before discussing these 5 arguments, I would like to briefly state the Nyaya arguments against Satkaryavad. You know that they claim that the effect is a new entity. So let me begin. They say it is undeniable that the curd is distinct from milk and a cup from the clay. If these effects, that is curd and cup, were of the same nature as their stuff causes, that is milk and clay, then they would have served the same purposes. But surely we cannot drink from a lump of clay. Also, if the effect were pre-existent in the cause, the instrumental agent's effort to bring it about would be redundant. Surely the weaver does not spend all the energy just to uncover what is already there in the fiber. Further, if the effect is merely manifested rather than produced, then at least the manifestation of it is one new entity which was previously absent. If the manifestation of curd itself can be admitted to be absent in the milk, why not the curd itself? Okay, so now coming back to Sāṃkhya. Have a look at this verse. Asat akaranat upadan grihanat sarva sambhava abhavat shaktasya shakya karanat karana bhavat cha satkaryam. This verse puts forward the 5 arguments. Let us discuss the arguments one by one. The first argument is asad karanat, which may be stated as: if the effect does not exist prior to its production, then its cause does not exist, or it has no cause. In other words, if something is unreal, then nothing can make it an existent entity, or it has no cause. But there are causes of an effect. Therefore, the effect does exist prior to its production or manifestation. It is a simple argument which says that the effect exists in its material cause before its production, because that which is not real or which does not exist cannot be produced by any set of causal conditions. The horn of a hare, the lotus in the sky are unreal in this sense. Let us move on to the second argument, which is upadan grihanat, and which may be formulated as: Premise 1. If the effect does not exist prior to its production, it cannot be related to its material cause. Premise 2. But an effect is related to its material cause. Consider the relation between a seed and the sprout, between milk and yogurt, between oil seeds and oil, or between the parts of a pot and the pot. Hence, the conclusion: the effect exists prior to its production. What the argument states is that the cause and the effect are invariably related to each other. So, a material cause produces only that effect with which it is causally related. Now, it is only milk that is causally related to yogurt. So, milk alone can produce yogurt. Okay, now the third argument, which is sarva sambhava bhavat, which may be formulated as: if an effect does not exist prior to its production, then it can be produced by any object or cause, as it is not related to anything. But an effect is produced by a specific cause. In other words, it is not produced by any arbitrary thing. Hence, the effect exists prior to its production. Now, there is a definite design in which production or manifestation of effect takes place. So, a specific effect can be produced only by a specific cause. It cannot be produced from any cause whatsoever, which proves that the specific effect is implicit in its specific material cause. Now, the fourth argument, and it is Shaktasya Shakya Karanat, which may be expressed as: if the effect does not exist prior to its production, then its cause cannot have the ability or potentiality to produce it. But a cause produces a specific effect as it has the ability or Shakti to produce it. Therefore, the effect cannot be said to be non-existent prior to its production. What this argument claims is that a cause can produce only that effect for which it has a potency or Shakti. This potency of the cause cannot be explained if the effect is not already related to the cause, for otherwise oil would come out of sand, curd out of water. So we have to accept that the effect pre-exists in the cause in an unmanifest or potential form before its production. Now the fifth and the last argument, which is Karana Bhavat. This may be formulated as: if the effect is non-existent prior to its production, then it cannot be of the nature of its cause. But the effect is of the nature of its cause. Therefore, the effect exists prior to its production. This argument clearly states that the effect is of the same nature as its material cause. And when the blockages or hindrances in the way of the manifestation are eliminated, the effect naturally emerges out of the cause. There is tadatmaya or identity between cause and effect. The cloth is not something different from the threads as it abides in the latter. But where this identity is not found, there we do not find the relation of cause and effect. Thus, a horse and a cow are different from each other. But the cloth is an acknowledged effect and therefore not anything different from its cause. Also, the cloth is not different from its threads because there is neither conjunction nor separation between them. Both conjunction and separation are found to take place in objects which are different from one another, like the well and the bucket. It is further argued that if A and B are distinct entities, it makes sense to say bring A and also B. But to say bring the cloth and also its threads is nonsense. So we find that the Sāṃkhya are firm on the view that the effect is not a new entity, as it pre-exists in its material cause in the state of tamas. And as soon as rajas gets its chance to dominate the other gunas, the process of its actualization takes place. This view of Sāṃkhya has been variously supported. For example, there is a quote in the Bhagavad Gita. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayo rapi drishto antastava anayos tattva darshibhihi, which means of the non-existent there is no coming to be, of the existent there is no ceasing to be. The conclusion about these two has been perceived by the seers of truth. There is also a famous maxim of Aristotle that something can never come out of nothing. Hegel too has defined causation as passage from the implicit to the explicit. Cause and effect are the potential and the actual forms of the same matter and energy. Anyway, by way of these 5 arguments, the Sāṃkhya philosophers established their theory, Parinamvad, which of course is an offshoot of Satkaryavad. The effect already exists in the cause in an implicit form. The theory of causation can be understood with the help of the analogy of a tortoise. The tortoise extends its limbs from its shell. The tortoise does not create its limbs. It merely brings that which was hidden into view. Sāṃkhya philosophers hold that similarly no one can convert non-existence into existence, nor can that which exists be entirely destroyed. A tortoise is not different from its limbs, which are subject to appearance or disappearance, just as golden ornaments such as rings and earrings are not different from the gold used to make them. With this, I will end my lecture, but I just want to say one thing, and that is that the theory of causation is central to Sāṃkhya philosophy, because it is the underlying basis upon which the other theories are formulated. This much for today. Thank you so much.